The night my billionaire boss called me trash, the room laughed because he was rich enough to make cruelty sound like a joke. 3 years later, I watched that same man shake while I signed the papers that ended his empire. If you've ever been humiliated by someone who thought money made them untouchable, subscribe now. This story is for you. My name is Elena Morales, and when this story begins, I was nobody important. At least, that's what Victor Harlan believed. Victor was the founder and CEO of Harlan Strategic, a private logistics and infrastructure firm that handled contracts for ports, rail hubs, and government suppliers. He was a billionaire on paper, a tyrant in practice, and he enjoyed humiliating people the way some men enjoy wine, slowly, publicly, and with witnesses. I worked directly under him as a senior operations analyst, not glamorous, not visible, but essential. I was the person who fixed routing failures before they cost millions, the one who caught regulatory violations before auditors arrived, the one who rewrote entire forecasting models while Victor took credit for instinct. For 3 years, I stayed quiet because I needed the job, because my mother's medical bills didn't care about my pride, because I believed competence would eventually protect me. I was wrong. The dinner happened at a charity fundraiser Victor hosted every year. Black tie, downtown hotel, long tables dressed in glass and linen. He insisted senior staff attend so donors could see the brains behind the brand. Translation, he wanted an audience. I wore a navy dress, conservative, professional. I didn't drink. I never did at Victor's events. He liked people sloppy so he could feel sharper. Halfway through the main course, a donor asked how Harlan Strategic survived a recent port shutdown that had crippled competitors. Victor leaned back, smirking. "Luck," he said, "and a few spreadsheets my team obsessively babysits." Laughter. Then he turned to me. "Elena, tell them what you do." Every instinct told me not to speak, but silence had never saved me before. I manage cross-region risk modeling. We rerouted shipments preemptively using... Victor cut me off with a sharp laugh. "She means she pushes buttons." More laughter. Something in him shifted then. Maybe he'd had too much wine. Maybe he just wanted to remind me where I stood. He continued, louder now. "You know, people like her should be grateful just to be in the room. No pedigree, no connections, trash backgrounds polished up with spreadsheets." The word landed heavy. Trash. I felt heat rush to my face. But I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I looked around the table and saw exactly what Victor expected to see. People avoiding eye contact, smiling nervously, relieved it wasn't them. I excused myself, went to the restroom, locked the stall, and breathed until the shaking stopped. That night, I didn't quit. That was Victor's first mistake. What Victor never understood was that I wasn't loyal. I was observant. I knew where the contracts were fragile, which partnerships were inflated, which profits depended on regulatory gray zones that could collapse overnight. And I also knew something else. Victor had stopped evolving. Harlan Strategic still operated like it was 2008, centralized control, opaque accounting, fear-based management. The industry was changing. Decentralized logistics, AI-driven forecasting, sustainability mandates. Victor mocked all of it. Fads, he called them. I called them leverage. For the next year, I started doing something dangerous. I learned. Not casually, obsessively. I took night courses in corporate finance and acquisitions, learned how holding companies worked, how shell firms were structured, how private shares could move quietly before anyone noticed. I saved aggressively, invested conservatively, built relationships with people Victor dismissed, junior partners, compliance officers, regional directors he thought were replaceable. I didn't gossip. I didn't threaten. I listened. Then my mother died, and something in me hardened. I stopped caring whether Victor respected me. I started caring whether he survived me. The opening came from arrogance, as it always does. Victor decided to spin off one of Harlan Strategic's smaller subsidiaries, Northway Transit Solutions, to free up capital for a vanity expansion project in Dubai. He sold it cheaply. Too cheaply. I knew because I'd built its internal valuation models myself. Northway wasn't flashy, but it had long-term municipal contracts and clean compliance records, predictable revenue, low risk. Perfect. Through an LLC registered under my aunt's maiden name, I bought a minority stake. Then another. Then I introduced the holding company to a private equity firm Victor despised, Redcrest Group. They specialized in slow, surgical takeovers. They asked why I wanted in. I didn't say revenge. That would have sounded emotional. I said, because Harlan Strategic is over-leveraged, mismanaged, and one regulatory audit away from collapse. They listened. Over 18 months, we moved carefully, bought debt, acquired voting rights, consolidated subsidiaries Victor thought were irrelevant. He was too busy chasing headlines to notice the ground shifting under him. By the time the board meeting was called, Redcrest controlled 38% of the company. I controlled the rest. Victor didn't recognize me when I walked into the boardroom. That hurt more than it should have, until Redcrest's attorney introduced me as the majority shareholder representative. He laughed. Then he stopped. The vote wasn't dramatic. No shouting, no glass breaking, just numbers. Victor argued, threatened lawsuits, accused people of betrayal. No one defended him. When the motion passed, he turned to me, eyes burning. This is about that dinner, isn't it? You're petty. I met his gaze, steady. No, I said, this is about competence. Then I added, because honesty mattered more than kindness now, but calling me trash helped. Security escorted him out. No applause, just silence. The kind that finally belonged to me. I didn't keep the company. That would have been ego. I restructured it, installed leadership that knew the industry's future, and sold my stake within a year for more money than Victor ever paid me. I don't attend galas anymore. I don't chase revenge either. But I never forget this. People like Victor don't fall because they're cruel. They fall because they confuse power with permanence. And if someone ever calls you trash, remember this. Trash only looks worthless until someone realizes what can be built from it. If this hit close to home, you know why you're here. Subscribe. I'm not done telling these stories.